Let's see if we can skim this wall to a professional finish with these tools. A cheap haul off Amazon. I've got my doubts. What do you think? Let's find out. Jumpers off, we mean business, right? Random one, little experiment today. Now, I've been asked over the years quite a bit, can you plaster with budget tools? And I'd probably say no, but I'm going to give it a go today because I've never done it before. The only thing I have used before is a trowel straight out of the packet, and it's not easy. So I think today is going to be a bit tricky. Just a bit of context for you, this is my house, so I'm not going into a customer's house and experimenting on one of their walls. This is my bathroom. Now, I spent a lot of the year last year insulating. I've got a 9-inch brick wall around all three sides of the house, so I spent a bit of time insulating it. The bathroom is the last place that I've got to do, so I've got to skim the walls and now I've got to redo the bathroom. Before you say anything, the coving is up already. That's just because I coved my 2 bedrooms and I just wanted to get that done and out of the way. So ordinarily I would be skimming before I put the coving up, but I'm not on this occasion. Anyway, enough of that, let's go through the tools. So basically I just wanted to get the cheapest, most basic tools that I could find on Amazon. I'll go through everything. This is just that's them, they've got a mind of their own by the looks of it. This is just to skim one wall, so there's things I haven't included, like a corner trowel. This is basically if you just had a flat wall. I'm going to do the reveals and just play around with it. The thing with that wall is I'm going to probably either tile it or Venetian it at some point, so I'm not too worried about how this comes out. Anyway, start with the tools. So most important tool you're probably going to have plastering is your trowel. Look at this. It's cheap and nasty and it costs £4.99. Now, the only thing I have done is just sanded these corners slightly, just so they're not sharp 90-degree angles, which is going to dig in the wall on the sides and judder up and leave lines. So that is the one thing I've done to it. I've done nothing to the blade itself. As you can see, there's no flexibility in it whatsoever, and putting any pressure on it, I'm not confident that handle is going to stand up to the test, but we'll find out. So my first thought is it's going to peel the plasterer pretty badly, but we'll find out anyway. So £4.99 trowel. Next, self-explanatory, hawk. How much was the hawk? £9.95. Plasterer's hawk. Another horrible stippled plastic handle. There's no cushioning underneath, so you wouldn't want to be using that day in, day out, because that's going to be horrible. Simply screw the handle through the hole in the hawk. Whoop. Next, a Rolson bucket trowel, £4.79. Cheap and cheerful, but it's quite decent size actually, so as long as it don't fall apart, that's going to do the job nicely. Again, on here, I have just rounded these edges slightly, because when you scoop out the bucket, when they're new like that, you can get, it scrapes the plastic off the bucket and you get little black bits in your mix and on your wall, so you don't want that. So yeah, bucket trowel, next on the list. Simple masonry brush. I've used it for SBR in the wall. I just had to SBR the wall up there, so it's been skimmed. It's had some skim on it for months now, so yeah, the brush, £3.75. Hopefully it does what it says on the tin. Cheap bucket. Now this is the only thing I couldn't get on Amazon because the buckets were all in packs of 5, I think, so I just got this from Wix, £1.50. Mixing tough tub, that was Amazon. How much was that? £6.95. So just a simple tough tub, and you can leave your mix in there and just bang it out afterwards if you wanted to. And last but not least, this bad boy, look. Now, I did not believe I'd get this so cheap. £24.47 on Amazon. So it looks like it's got a variable speed adjuster. Where is it? On that side, there's a little toggle. I haven't tried it yet, so it might not work. I might be filming this for nothing, but tiny little paddle, look, and it's all bolted together. So time will tell. That is all I need. So only things I have got out my van is the SBR to seal the wall and my hop up, and everything else is literally off Amazon. So the grand total, the Amazon haul was £64.90, and then with my added bucket, £66.40p for that lot. So can we skim a wall? All the tools you need to skim a wall, £66.40p. Let's go and find out. This is going to be interesting. Right, seems to be doing the job all right now. Let's give her a scrape round. Right, it's mixed it up, and it's a bit of a splashy paddle, so if you're using one of these drills, maybe use it outside, not in a customer's house. Will sheet up a bit better than I have. Usually I'd use a sweeping brush to clean out, or a cleaning out brush, but I'm just using the tools that I bought, so I'm trying to give this a bit of a clean with a paintbrush. It's coming up all right. Right, tool number one, paddle, works. Right, I'm going to try and film it as best I can, but the lighting, because of the window, is proving fairly difficult. There we go. Right, shiny hawk. Just be aware with new stuff, because that hasn't had a build up of the skim on it, it's going to slide everywhere. And also new trowel with no build up on that either, it's probably going to slide everywhere, so expect a fair bit of mess if you haven't done this before and you're using budget stuff. Okay, so a little bit of a tip, if you get a little bit of muck onto your hawk before, and just give it a slide around. Sort of gives it a little bit of a key just to work with, in theory anyway. Right, sorry about the lighting, I didn't really think this through. Right, let's try and put some on the walls, see what happens. So, holds a couple of hawkfuls, holds a couple of trowelfuls on it. Here we go. To be fair, it actually seems like it's not leaving any lines in, so the shape of it must be pretty decent. First dollop on the floor, look. The one place I didn't put any sheeting down, and it falls there. When I'm going out to coving jobs like this, I don't want to get it all over the coving, just do a line few inches below, and then put a little bit on your trowel and work it down, and then get in the corner and just bring it across like that, so you're not getting it all over the coving. Oh, but getting it all over the floor. Right, let's get the rest of this on. Apologies if you use the toilet, no, one place I don't cheat up and I'll get it on there. Anyway, this will give you a better view as to, surprisingly, how nicely this trowel is putting it on, even though it's putting it all over the floor as well. So far, I'm actually impressed. So like I say, this was done last summer, this board that's been put up. It was the foam back insulation board, so they don't always sit quite straight when you stick them. If they've got a little bit of bend in them, you can't get it out. So that's why there's a bit of filling out done on the joints on this one. But we'll fill that out nicely now with the skin. Right, nearly on. First coat. Now, I've got a bit of a hard to reach place here where the radiator is, because obviously I've put 40 mils worth of insulation on, and it's a bit of a struggle to get round, but it's getting there. It's getting behind it, alright. Like I said, I haven't got a corner trowel, so I'm going to test it out using just this as the trowel. Right, second coat going on now. If you get a bit of scrim poking through like that, if you just score it and then get over the top of it again, it makes it disappear. So as usual, when I put on going vertically, I put my second coat on horizontally just to flatten it as I go. Obviously when I get to the bead, I need to go up the bead, so that doesn't apply in that situation, but in general, that's what I'll do. On vertically, first coat, lay in horizontally, second coat. when we get to these edges, even though I've come across that way, I do like to run the trowel up, just so I don't get a rounded scoop on the edge. As the camera picks it up, but it's starting to dry a little bit where the SBR is, and I think it's giving me a little bit of a sign as to how the trowel's going to finish. And it don't look good. You have to use the toe of my trowel to get in behind that, and I've got to admit it's not very neat. Doesn't help that the trowel's so square, so hopefully we'll be able to tidy it up as we go. Right, all the flats are on, all the flat is on, so now I'm just going to put another coat on these reveals. It is making a big mess of my window frames, which I don't like because I'm usually a bit OCD about mess. So first thing I do before I wash out is going to use that brush to just clean around the ceiling edges and this window frame, just to tidy up a little bit before we get trowel in. But in fairness, I was expecting a lot worse out of this trowel. I know I haven't troweled up yet, but putting it on hasn't been as horrific as I thought it was going to be. So when you're putting reveals on, you can put it on that way, but it's best to go up and down your reveal, keeping your trowel up against the frame so it's square. Otherwise you start to come out, create a little curve in the wall, which nobody wants to see. So you're going to put on just to fill it out like that. I get a little bit on the middle and just butt up to this frame and just bring it along like that. Then you can see if there's any little hollows that need filling out again. Like that. So across to put it on, then fill your trowel out. Up and down. That's that. Put a little bit on this sill bit as well. I'm having a window board going over, but just in case I change my mind. Right, there we are. So I've just put it on, cleaned out the tools, and I've gone around all the ceiling edges, the walls, wall edges and the window frames with a brush, just to tidy it up a little bit before we get troweling, because budget tools and being my own place, it's a bit messy at the moment. So yeah, that's by the by. What I'm going to do is, I'm actually not going to make a habit of this, but I'm going to give these tools away, because me being a plasterer, obviously I have everything, I've got expensive stuff and I need expensive stuff to be able to do the work that I need to do. So I'm going to be giving these away. They'll just be chucked in my shed otherwise and forgotten about. So I will be giving away the trowel, the hawker trowel, the bucket trowel, the brush and the mixing drill, all for nothing. If you just, what I want you to do is say yes please in the comments and give the reason why you want it, and the most liked comment, I'll get the stuff sent out to you. But the buckets I won't send, just because they're bulky and hard to package and stuff, so it'll just be the hand tools and the drill. Anyway, I'm You give this a couple of minutes and then give it a flatten. See how this see how this trowel performs. I might not give stuff away if it's absolutely horrific at the end of it and not passable, but fingers crossed. Right, I think I've managed to sort out a bit better lighting now, so without further ado, let's try this bad boy out for size. So what I'd suggest is keeping a really shallow angle. So you don't want to be dragging it, that's your wall. So you won't be dragging it off the wall like that. You want to make sure you've got a nice shallow angle, it just glides along rather than taking the material off. You want to try and spread it. So like I was saying with the reveals, you don't want to come out onto your bead like that either. So always use a trowel's width, just go up it, around your trowel that way. You don't create that curve and then you can just come into it where you finish there. So on this part that I had to fill out previously, it's drying quickly now, so I need to just clean the bead off so I know where the edge is and give that a little bit of tidy up as well. By the way, like I say, there's a sill going on here, so that's why it looks like it does at the moment. So just give that trowel give that sill a little bit of a tidy up while I'm there, and just run your brush along. You can hear it scraping on that bead. Just fill out all the hollows as you go. So that is definitely the driest part at the moment. And not very nice, to be honest with you. But let's carry on. I'm trying to fill out all the hollows on this first trowel just to make it easier, because I think I'm going to need a lot of water to make this trowel glide along the wall in the next few hours. So it almost sounds like it's dragging already. Sounds like I'm on about the third or fourth trowel. I'm not, I'm on the first trowel. Right, so this is it after trowel number 1. Not horrific, it doesn't really pick it up well, but it's a bit blotchy in places, and where this SBR was, it's not looking too clever either. The plasterboard part itself is pretty decent, so I think we're in with a chance. I think again it's going to need a lot of water to help it glide, but so far so good. Right, I'm going to have another tidy up because every time I do a pass it just creates a mess. The trowel just these window frames, it's quite embarrassing really. Yeah, every time it just has a build up on the edge of the trowel and just blobs everywhere. So I'm going to have another tidy up. By that time should be ready for trowel number 2. A bit of water probably, a lot of water. Alright, trowel number 2. See how it goes. Nice little cutting in brush at the moment until it gets built up with plaster in it anyway. So let's see what it's like. Still quite wet, but that might be a good thing. So far, still, I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm still keeping that shallow angle, and I probably will keep that for the duration of this set, to be honest. Because any scraping of this is just going to leave like tiger stripes everywhere, so it needs to be a real flat, smooth angle. I don't know if you can see how flat I've got that. Let's get it a bit closer. So I'm not doing any of this scraping stuff. It's all smooth, really shallow angles. Off that second trowel, a little bit of water. I've found that this side of the trowel, there's tiny little like hairlines that it's dragging through. So a little tip, if you haven't got stone or anything, because stones can be a bit coarse sometimes, if you've got little dinks in your trowel, try and file them out and you end up getting more. So what I've found is metal on metal can be quite effective. So if you've got the hawk or whatever, another trowel, just do a few passes. Just on that edge where you're getting the lines. Might as well do it on both edges, to be fair. It's not going to do it any harm. Just to give it a little bit of a glide. And it hasn't actually done anything. I'm going to give it a bit more of a scrape, see if I can sort it out a bit. Alright, third trowel time. Now, what I'm thinking is, because it's cheap metal, it's very rigid, I'm not going to get, it's not going to flow through the plaster, so I'm not going to be able to put too much pressure on it to get it nice and flat, I don't think. But luckily we put it on pretty flat, so hopefully there's not too many ridges in it. But, we'll see. Let's have a look. It's actually, I'm shocked, to be fair. I mean, if you're a DIYer, obviously you're not going to have the experience I've got in knowing how to get over using these sort of tools, but the way it's going at the moment, I'm believing it is possible to use cheap tools. I'm not saying it's easy, I'm not saying I'd recommend it, but at the moment it's passable. As you can see, there's no real lines. It's gliding quite smoothly, to be fair. So I know that when it starts to drag and tear, I need to put a little bit less pressure on it and a little bit more water. So this was the problematic area where the skim had been on there, just filling the boards out a little bit. So it actually doesn't look too bad at all. Right, let's get this bit done, because that's a trickier bit to get to. This is a little bit of a ridge. I don't know if you can see it there, a little bit of a hollow, so I've had to try and push that out as much as I can. But it's filling, so a few little hollows under the bead. Good tip, if you're under a window and you can't see, just put your trowel up, it reflects a little bit of light on there and you can see what you've missed. This is the bit I'm getting scared of, because it's getting to that stage now where I need to put a bit more pressure on, and I can feel feels like the handle is not going to take it. Right, last trowel. It's actually come out really nice, to be fair. Say really nice, it's passable. And on the last trowel, I gave an extra in between wet trowel. I was actually using two hands at one point because it's so stiff. It doesn't push in and fill all the hollows, so I really had to give it some welly, and in all fairness, it's done the job, so I can't complain. What I will say though is, because it's not stainless steel, it's beginning to rust already. Let's see, pick that up on the camera. You can see those little blotches. So if you do get a cheap trowel, just bear in mind that, well, even the carbon steel ones, you're either going to have to spray it with some WD-40 afterwards, or give it a sand down every time you want to use it. So, a bit of a pain, but for a fiver, what do you expect? Now, it's getting a bit shiny because of the pressure I'm putting on it, so decorators wouldn't like it, but pretty flat. I'm actually super impressed. Not bad at all. A few trowels, a few wet trowels, and I'm actually pretty impressed of how well it's come out. So, although it looks like there's patches of different colours and stuff, it is all uniform and there is actually no bumps. This is the area where I had the join in the boards that wasn't filled out, so I had to keep putting some pressure on. So when you have to put a lot of pressure on when you're not using decent stuff, it kind of creates this shininess, so you can see the darker areas where it's starting to develop a shine. Now, that's not very good for decorating because the paint doesn't tend to stick to it very well, so if this does happen and you're doing it yourself and you're decorating yourself as well, just give it a light sand, like some 120 grit, just to give the plaster a bit of a key. But that is definitely passable. So I'm going to leave it now and then I'm going to let it dry overnight, and we'll have a look, see what it looks like tomorrow. Right, not going to lie to you, it's been a couple of months since I skimmed this wall, and as you can see, I've just given it a mist coat of very cheap emulsion, 2 parts paint, 1 part water, just to seal it in and get rid of any suction, ready for painting. Now, I'm not going to decorate this myself, I'm going to get somebody else in to do the rest of the room once I get to do the ceiling and the hallway outside. So anyway, long story short, it's come out really nicely actually. It's really hard to tell on camera, but so what looked like a load of blemishes when it was in its dried state actually weren't blemishes, they were just discolorations, and they've covered really nicely. So as you can see, as you can't see, right down here I had a bit of a lump here that I had to over trowel to try and get the bump out, and as you can see the paint hasn't stuck here very well because it was quite shiny. So when I talk about decorators not liking it over polished, this is the reason why, because you get little bits where the paint doesn't stick properly. Now ideally, obviously you give it a light sand beforehand, but I wanted to see how it was without any sanding or any preparation work. So it's literally just had 2 little quick coats of watered down emulsion, like I just said. Now, would I recommend using cheap trowels if you're a beginner? Probably not. Now, without sounding ridiculously big-headed, this is going to sound big-headed either way I say, but you need some experience to be able to get over the problems that you would with a cheap budget trowel. Obviously I've got that experience, so it was hard work, but as you can see I've got it to a paintable finish, so it is doable. Would I recommend it to beginners? Probably not. If you've got a little bit of practical experience, then yeah, give it a go, why not, for a £5. You can always chuck it away and reskim the wall with a slightly more expensive and flexible trowel. But anyway, that's the conclusion. It can be done. I wouldn't recommend it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway guys, apologies for the long delay in videos. It's just been a bit mental, hence why it's taken me 2 months to get this painted and finished up. So that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think. I will be giving those tools away, like I said. See you again soon for another Ash the Plasterer video. Take care. See you later. Bye bye.